Hello everybody. So today's video is about how to pass the lower level certifications. Or even the trial, because the trial class is a lower level class. So if you are looking to pass trial 3.0 or looking to pass off lower certifications and get that, I'm going to hopefully give you some tips and pointers that will help you do that. Now, I'll be making another video for upper levels, hopefully in the next week, that people can use to reference. So, of course, I will not be going over the specific lessons that you will be doing, but I will be going over the concepts, which are good teaching concepts for VAP Kid that you should be putting into practice. And these are the things that VAP Kid will be looking for. So, first off, just general things that environment, presentation, everything. Let's go over real quick. Of course, have an educational background. It doesn't have to be flashy, it doesn't have to be cute, it doesn't have to be um, anything super great, but it does need to be clean, it needs to be visible, and it needs to be educational. So keep that in mind as you are looking to do that. Um, Next, have good lighting. So it doesn't have to be expensive. If you saw in one of my other videos, I just have a lamp pointed at me with a grocery bag as a filter so I'm not blinded, but it helps brighten up my face. I also have my overhead light. I took off the cover and that made it a little bit brighter, and I use the LED or the natural light bulbs to make it brighter. Now some people use more and spend more. Whatever you're going to do, just try and make sure that you have good lighting. Next, position. Make sure you are noticing how you are in the camera. You need to make sure that when you're using TPR, they can see your TPR. Don't go too close. Don't be too far. Don't be doing TPR down here or holding your props down here. So make sure that you are being where the student can see you. Um, then, of course, make sure that you look professional, that you are positive, that you have a good attitude, and that you are behaving the way that you should in the classroom. So those are some general things to go over right at the beginning. So make sure you're trying to do those. Next, when you are using props and things, make sure they apply to the lesson. Try and use different kinds of props. Make sure they're visible. Use them. Of course, have a reward. Make that visible. And if you can, make it relate to the lesson, because that can really help with student output. You can get the student talking. You can extend. Look for those ways to extend in your lesson by asking questions or counting or doing something with your reward or with your props. So really look for those times that you can do that. Next, modeling is something really huge. If you don't know the I do, we do, you do, I'm going to break it down real fast for you. So first, I do, you're saying it. In the we do, and you're modeling it. Then in the we do, you're saying it, the student's repeating it, or you're saying part of it, you're giving hints to get the student to do it. So first think of I do as you're riding like a tandem bike and you're doing basically all the work. And the student may be repeating or doing things just like you. And then in the we do, it's like you are the parent helping them ride that bicycle and you are giving them support in however they need it to be able to succeed. And then, of course, the last is you do, which you want the student to be doing it on their own. This is where you're doing like a comprehension check question. What do you see? And then hopefully they're giving the target sentence or whatever it is for that lesson. So make sure that you are trying to follow that pattern and have a logical way of the way that you teach things, how you're teaching new content with new words. Try and say it at least 2 times and have the student say it that isolated by itself. When it's new content, you need to not have it in context yet, or else it can be confusing. So isolate those new words, new sounds, at least 2 times, and make sure that the student is saying that too. So please make sure that you are trying to have that happen. So that was modeling student output. Of course, we want the student talking at least 50% of the time in the lower levels. So try and keep that in mind when you are getting them to talk. And then you as a teacher, try not to talk too much. Try and talk at least only half the time. So if you feel like you're talking too much, maybe you are. So try and watch out for that. Also, of course, watch out for your incidental language. Adding in those extra words, adding in things that they don't know. Check out that prior knowledge sheet. Make sure you know what that student knows beforehand. Now, let's see. Of course, be warm. Try and find ways to have rapport with the student, build up those things that you can do with them. Have a nice greeting, have it be fun. When you're correcting, of course, be positive. So keep all those things up while you are teaching. Now, make sure you're using your TPR. Remember, there are two types of TPR. There's instructional TPR, which is when you're giving commands or instructions. Draw a line, circle, things like that. Or even when you're saying a new word and then having the student repeat and using that so they know it's their turn to talk. So, of course, try and do that instructional TPR. Next is educational TPR. Educational TPR is any TPR that adds to the education. So if you are teaching about an animal and you can do a TPR that matches what that animal would do, like if you're doing fish, or whatever it is. So try and use words that would add to your lesson and have that TPR to go along with it. Now, of course, encouraging full sentences. We want to do this, especially those target sentences. So make sure that you are encouraging that. Try and do it in different ways, verbal, nonverbal, um, whichever ways. Try and be creative. Try and do those things. And so I think those are most of the things. Oh, pacing. That's the last one. Well, I mean, there's tons more, but in my general tips. So, pacing, of course, try and keep on close to a minute a slide. But of course, if one is going faster than another, then you know you can take a little bit more time on new content. That's where you should be spending more time. So, warm ups and things should be shorter. New content, that's where they want to see you focusing and really getting the student to understand, reinforcing that, practicing. So, really try and look at the lesson and plan out that pacing so that you can be on time. So, hopefully, this helps. Of course, if you have any tips or questions, please put them below. And good luck with certifying on those new levels. You guys are awesome.